I mean, they had momentum in that fourth quarter. If they weren't in such a hole, they could have won that game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The whole, again, Anthony in the comments said, how many games are we going to continue saying slow start, slow start, slow start? I mean, and we were talking in pregame about that quote from DeMar after last night's win that was about he's glad to know that his teammates in that locker room with him want to win, care about winning, care about each other, getting the best out of each other, and they just need to find that right balance and, you know, get that consistency of coming out and being ready to play, whatever phrases he used, that we're like, you talk about that, and then you show us a game where you start in another double-digit hole.
Yes, they did.
Your team didn't make a field goal until like 3.5 minutes into the game.
It's true.
You started 0 of 8 or 0 of 9 from the field or whatever. How is it that you do that repeatedly?
How do you do
and then
that?
say and expect anyone to believe it, including yourself, we're all bought in, we all really care about winning. Because that shit doesn't look like it.
No, it does not. That ain't what winning looks like. It's not even what a team who's trying to win looks like. It just looks bad all around. Like you hit that right on the head. Like just getting off to those starts in the first quarter. They showed an interesting stat about their 3-point shooting and how they get off to solid starts as far as the 3-point shooting in the first quarter. Shooting 41%, I believe, in that first quarter. That's great. That's awesome. Talk to me about from the field. What are they doing? Because all I recall and watching them do is be stagnant in that first quarter. Is coming out lethargic with no energy until Billy makes a substitution and brings in Caruso or brings in Ayo or brings in Javon when he feels like it. Or, you know, whoever he wants to bring in, and then I noticed the change. But they get off to terrible starts.
And to me, it wasn't a coincidence that they started 0 from the field.
Yeah.
Like, they came close to starting 0 of 10 from the field. It's not a coincidence when you watch their first 4 or 5 offensive possessions, and it was just trash possession after trash possession that led to bad shots, forced shots, passed up good shots to take worse shots, turnovers. Pretty sure they had a 24-second shot clock violation mixed in there. Oh, surprise.
Wait, 2 of them. We saw at least 2 of those 24-second shot.
You kidding me? You kidding me?
24-second shot clock violations, man. It was just bad basketball.
What a joke.
And it's tough to sit and watch bad basketball and watch a team lose constantly the same kind of way. Just bad basketball, bad shooting. The IQ is low. The motor is low. Can we talk about the motor on this team, man?
What motor?
It just doesn't. It's not out there.
You know what? Torrey Craig had a motor tonight.
He did.
I'll give him that.
For sure.
Most nights, Kobe has a motor.
And Javon.
Patrick Williams had a motor tonight. We can
That's
talk
true.
about him. Pat had a solid game.
Some parts of a motor tonight.
And notice who we're all naming. We're naming everybody who comes off the bench.
Role players.
We're naming role players who don't start. I'm naming people who are not in your starting lineup who our guy Tim Sinclair names.
Or say the big 3 who we focused on in pregame having the worst plus minus of any trio in the NBA right now.
And then without improved it. Exactly why they're like that. That's the frustrating part. When I'm talking about the motor, when I'm talking about the IQ, I'm not talking about my starting lineup. That's a problem, God damn it. That is an issue on this team, bro. And it has to be fixed. It has to be changed, man.
And we talked about it during the game. Like, to me, I'm really not like which team wanted it more, who gave more, you know, whose heart was there, who put more energy. Like, I think if you're in the NBA and you're trying to compete as much as these guys are, like, there should be a bar, a high floor of like competitive effort. And I just like, for me, I like don't want to talk about that or argue about that because it's not something that should be discussed. It's like everybody should be trying really hard. Everybody should want it more. But when you look at a team like this that's coming out this way, and missed shots are going to happen. The Bulls are taking like, 30-ish% of their threes, of their total threes per game in the first quarter. So I think they're coming out trying to play the right way. But then they get into a hole. They're down 10. They're down 15. And it's uncomfortable because they're playing a style that isn't natural to them.
Right.
And so they want to go back to doing it their way.
Yeah.
And yes, that brings the score a little bit closer, but we all know like how that story ends. And I think that's where, you know, you've done this now for 2 years. It's a third season, and you know it's not really working, and you're trying to do the right stuff, and they are trying to do the right stuff.
Sure.
They're trying to get in the paint. They're trying to draw more fouls. They are trying to do some of the right stuff, and you see it at times, but there's also times where they look like defeated by it because it's not working for them. And that's where the effort starts to go. And then you see it again when the subs come in, and Ayo and Javon and Drummond are getting, you know, pokeaways and, you know, picking guys up 94 feet and getting steals and runouts, and the energy comes back and the momentum shifts back towards the Bulls. And then you bring the stars back in and they're trying to play the right way, and it's not really working. And it's this cycle where the style just does not match the personnel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we've been talking about for a year and a half, is that you can talk all you want about playing faster, about having more tempo and momentum and all this stuff, but if your personnel does not allow for it, that's just not going to end up working. So they can try, and I think they have, but when they get defeated like this, it looks like what you're describing, and that's where I think a lot of people get frustrated.
We all silly like the mayor.